Afternoon and welcome to modern philosophy class. We are with Leibniz. Well, we have seen a good bit of the section. We have reached already the doctrine of force and introduced the theme about the doctrine of monads and what is a monad and how monad is composed of, and all that we have dealt with. And we are with characteristics of monads explained already, and we are with different kinds of monads. And the first one, yes, we have said bare or naked monads, or it is also called sleeping monads. Kinds of monads. So the first category is bare. Bare means also, yes, naked. Also called sleeping. Yes, with reference to consciousness, it is being said. Reference to consciousness is called the bare, the base one, or the naked one, or also it's called the sleeping monads. In other words, with reference to the consciousness in every level, Leibniz is talking about different kinds of monads. And the first one at the base is naked or sleeping. I have already said something in the previous class about it. At the same time, well, we'll give a perception differs in clearness and distinctness in different monads. Yes, in clarity and in distinction. Yes, that is a hallmark of modern philosophy that we have already said in the beginning. So, clearness, clarity and distinctness in different monads. Just as the human mind itself reveals perception in different degrees of clarity. So, well, we have clarity regarding different things. Okay, let it. At the bottom, there are bare or naked monads. Those of the inorganic world means the monad is a power center, we have said. Yes, this is of the inorganic world. In other words, a kind of semi-consciousness, sleeping mode is found in every created things. That is what is all about. They are also called sleeping monad, considering their inactivity and unconsciousness. Unconsciousness is something very important. There is no consciousness as we have in human beings. You find it in the sleeping or bare or naked monads. That is a simple thing. You can easily remember it. An animal has a group of monads which the ones made up of its body and much like bare monads. Okay, animals all belong to this category. Okay. Then there are the waking monads, the second category, kinds. Waking monads. Yes. Simply, even if you don't remember any explanation, remember, yes, unconscious stage for the bare, naked, sleeping monads, and then the waking monads with a kind of consciousness. Yes, it is all in terms of the degree of consciousness. Well, there is unconsciousness or unconscious mood here, there is a consciousness here. Well, when we go to the next one, there will be higher level of consciousness. So, in other words, we can talk in terms of consciousness. Well, there is no much consciousness in the first stage. There is less consciousness more consciousness, and then much more. So thank you. That is the way. Okay. So then there are waking monads which are found in man, as man is conscious and self-conscious being. Here comes the category of humans. All right. So, are found in man and are conscious and perceive more clearly, clarity and distinctness. And distinctness found here. Okay, that is called the waking monads. They are capable of being self-conscious. Self-consciousness is there. What do you mean by self-consciousness? As part of psychology, you learn a lot. You are able to reflect about yourself, about your activities, about your levels of understanding. Yes, that's something very important. Well, animals do not have such kind of a consciousness. We believe, clear. That is all what we can say. Always our perception, being a modern philosophy, well, we say the subject-centered thinking. All our perceptions are based on, yes, our thinking. As, yes, Spinoza said, well, God has infinitely many attributes of which we know only two, namely thought and extension. Why? That is the way we find ourselves here on earth. Therefore, he said, at least God must be mental and extended. Means not mental patient. Again and again, I repeat, because means mental consciousness. That is the way we are. That is the way we find ourselves here on earth. Therefore, here too, becoming self-conscious. And of course, when we talk about the bare, naked, sleeping monads, well, there is so much of unconsciousness. We evaluate them from our perspective. That's my stand. Well, the animals in and around, the living beings in and around, they have their consciousness. Yeah, that is why many more, modern psychology would give much more insight into that. But then, that their consciousness is not same as ours. Why? We have a higher level, we believe. But then, again I say, that's my stand. Well, what they have is in their own way justified. That's all. So, well, we have here waking monads having self-consciousness. Remember, we had said two categories. That's all. Okay. They are capable of being self-conscious. Man, in addition to the capacities of animals, possesses reason and can think of concepts like being, substance, immaterial, and God. That is our claim. Always remember, that is our claim. Well, the animals have their God consciousness. We do not know. But we are only from our perspective telling that they don't have. But then, if you look into the human psychology and the animal psychology, and you will find that the animals also have some kind of perceptibility, sensibility, much more than sometimes than we who claim that we have a better. Okay, that is a disputed one, and that has no relevance here. So in other words, with our self-consciousness, with our consciousness, we are able to deal with or think concepts like God, man, and many other concepts. So, substance, yes, substance, we define substance is that which exists in itself without the support of anything else, and all it goes. I don't want. So, higher than this, there is the supreme monad. Supreme monad. What happens here? Yes, supreme monad. Well, in the waking, there is a self-consciousness where, well, we can say pure consciousness itself. Pure consciousness without, yes, anything else. So the supreme monad, and we will later come back again to this, which is God. Supreme monad, which is God. Okay, he is self-existent. self-existent. Okay, in other words, self-existent means what? Yes, he does not depend on anyone else, anything else for his existence. That's all. Self-existent. Okay. He is self-existent and he is the creator of the rest. You will get the clue to the next point. Follow. He is also the creator. Creator of the rest. Rest means what? Creator of the waking monads and the sleeping monads. So in other words, he is also called the supreme monad who has created the rest of it. Well, we'll immediately jump on to another point. I reserve myself for the moment now. There is a grade of perfection you find. Yes, there's practically unconsciousness in the first one, second one, consciousness and self-consciousness, and in the third one, supreme monad, well, God, self-existent and creator of the rest of the monad is. The first thing that we need to talk about is he is self-existent and he is supreme monad, and this supreme monad or the self-existent one is also the creator of the rest of monads. Okay. All right. He is self-existent and he is creator of the rest. He is pure spirit. Yes. He is pure spirit. There is no matter in him. That is one point to be remembered. There is absolutely no matter in him. He is pure spirit, infinite, eternal. Okay. If you ask for search for the attributes, you have it. He is pure spirit. He is infinite, eternal. Okay. So, three kinds of monads: waking, sleeping, or naked or bare. Second one, waking monads, not walking monads, please. Sometimes people will say walking monads. Yes. The waking means awakening is there, consciousness is there. That is all what is. And so, he is pure spirit, infinite, eternal, absolutely wise and good. Absolutely wise and good. Absolutely wise. And then what does it mean? There is no foolishness in him. Just opposite of, yes. And then we are building up now a system, and then, well, exactly as in Descartes, you will come to a problem. And that problem I don't anticipate. Slowly we are jumping into that. But then remember this. Okay. And then he is the source of all that exists and are possible. Yes, we said already. All that exists. He is the source of all that exists and that are. Well, you have here the Nicene Creed. You read, then you will understand. You will get all these attributes coming there. Nicene Creed, you read. It is full of philosophy for me. Philosophy means it's truth. That's all. A kind of pure way of narrating what we believe to be. Okay. Now, a little more reflection regarding that. Leibniz, pluralism of monads means varieties of monads. Sorry, brothers. Yes, monads may be profitably compared to earlier monistic and pluralistic philosophers, because it's a kind of contrast like. Okay. Now, we have presented already different types of monads don't forget. And we jump on to the next point. Yes, that is already dictated or explained here. There is the principle of, yes, continuity. The principle of continuity. What do you mean by principle of continuity? Well, when we look from the naked to the bare to the waking to the supreme monad, well, there is a continuity, a grade of perfection, a movement onward regarding consciousness. That is simply the principle of continuity. And then we go into the next point, yes, the pre-established harmony. Pre-established harmony. So in other words, we said about the supreme monad. I repeat again what I have already dictated. Yes, he is the self-existent and is the creator of the rest of the monads. Yes, that is about supreme monad. He is pure spirit, infinite, eternal, absolutely wise and good. He is a source of all the other monads or that exist and all other possibilities. So, in other words, there is a principle of continuity, grade of perfection. Grade of perfection. There is a movement of from the bare, naked to the waking to the supreme. And so, there is also a principle called pre-established harmony. Now, to speak about pre-established harmony, well, we need to talk about Descartes, Spinoza. And then, in the previous classes, I have already given hint about Descartes and Spinoza. Well, yes, in Descartes, there is one absolute substance and two relative substances. I should not repeat it again because several times I have repeated it for your sake. Relative substances. Yes, these two are depending on this subject and all that is. And about relative substances, he said one is material, the other is immaterial. One is spiritual, yes, material or spiritual. This is material. Yes, one is extended. The other is thought, and then both are opposed to each other because one is material and the other is spiritual. If this is the situation, if this is the way man is matter and mind, or mind, matter and spirit, and if they are opposed to each other, how these human beings can move forward? And it is there. For a metaphysical problem, he proposed an epistemological solution. This is perhaps the fourth time I am talking to my students. Yes, about the same. Because in reference to Spinoza, Leibniz, we have to say that again. So, one is material and the other is immaterial, and both are opposed to each other. If then the question is, how are they related? How this human being can go on? That he said, well, the material and the spiritual interact each other in the pineal gland. Therefore, for the body-mind solution, Descartes proposed interactionism. We have several times said. And then Spinoza came. Well, according to Spinoza, there is only one substance and not there are two, yes, relative substances. And then that is substance. Then attributes. He said, this is an infinite substance, eternal and all that attributes. Therefore, God should have infinitely many attributes, but of which we know only two, namely thought and extension. Okay, in other words, God as the absolute substance, And only a substance has infinitely many attributes. Why? Is eternal. Of which we know only two. Why? Because that is the way we are existing here on earth, as bodily and with mind. Then, if that's the case, what is the solution proposed by Spinoza? Is called psychophysical parallelism. Because there is only one substance, God. The attributes are thought and extension. Yes, one is material, the other is spiritual. But then, these are two ways of being the one reality. Therefore, it is not simply a kind of interactionism. Whatever happens in the body happens also in the mind. Whatever happens in the mind happens also in the body. Well, while talking about Leibniz, he said, this cannot be accepted. That was his Leibniz position. Leibniz simply, he wanted to unify, in the introductory part, if you go, you will understand. Unify the warring groups means, yes, he wanted to unify the Catholicism with Protestantism. He wanted to bring a unity between philosophy and theology and many other things. And so, here too, what is the point? Yes, Supreme Monad. Supreme Monad is the creator of everything. We said already, all that is coming from or is created by the Supreme Monad. Therefore, there comes the pre-established harmony. Not interactionism, not psychophysical parallelism, but pre-established harmony. In other words, God, the Supreme Monad, when He created everything, He created them in such a way that there exists a perfect harmony. That is called pre-established harmony. Therefore, these two thoughts will go in line with the kinds of monads. Namely, one is that of the principle of continuity, the other pre-established harmony. Okay. A few sentences to write down. According to the theory of continuity, that is for principle of continuity, according to his theory of continuity, consciousness exists everywhere. Consciousness exists everywhere, even in the apparently unconscious ones. Even in the apparently unconscious ones. So, in other words, yes, there is a grade of consciousness in everything. But degree varies. Degree varies means goes on changing the degree. Leibniz overcome the Cartesian dualism by establishing. Leibniz overcome the Cartesian dualism by overcoming continuity between mind and matter. Continuity between mind and matter. Okay, every monad is in the process of evolution and realizes its nature with an inner necessity. Every monad is in the process of evolution and realizes its nature with an inner necessity. That's what's called the principle of continuity. And now we enter into the pre-established harmony. Okay. Each monad behaves in accordance with its own created purpose. Each monad behaves in accordance with its own purpose created purpose. That's maybe better, because they are created. Each monad behaves in accordance with its own created purpose. These windowless monads, each following its own purpose, windows are monadless. Characteristics we have already narrated in the previous class. So, these windowless monads, each following its own purpose, form a unity or the ordered universe. Leibniz takes pre-established harmony. Leibniz takes pre-established harmony to explain the Cartesian dualism. To explain the Cartesian dualism, he rejects the possibility of any interaction between body and mind. He rejects, okay, mostly. There is parallelism between the mental and the physical stage. In the sense that body is the material expression of the soul. That was Leibniz's position. So, remember, there is a pre-established harmony, and then the pre-established harmony is narrated by him in a different ways. Well, there are different explanations. You just imagine the one who created different clocks. You wind them up or put the clock, all of them will strike the time at the correct time, correctly. So that is what is called, yes, established, pre-established harmony. Anyway, the principle of continuity demands a highest monad at the end of the series of force. God is the highest and perfect monad. Pure activity, God is the highest and perfect monad. Pure activity, the original monad, and the monad of all monads. God is the highest and perfect monad, pure activity, the original monad, and the monad of monads. Well, two more points to be remembered. That is all part of the metaphysical framework. Now, the problem of evil. Problem of evil. Where does then, problem of evil as well as the best possible world. The best possible world. So, according to Leibniz, this is the best possible world that God could have ever created. So that's why these 2 points come together. This is the best possible. All being possible, God is not necessitated to create one or the other world. The harmony of the world led Leibniz to think that God has created the best possible world. When you study theology also, the problem will come up. So according to Leibniz, this is the best possible world that God could have ever created. Okay. So this is the best possible world theory is propounded by Leibniz. Therefore, the question, where does then evil come from? That's the question. If everything is best, then evil, where does it come? Well, he distinguishes between three types of evil, namely metaphysical evil, which consists of mere imperfection, physical evil in suffering, and moral evil in sin. So, metaphysical evil, physical evil, moral evil. What is metaphysical evil? Yes, which consists in a mere imperfection. Yes, the dog cannot fly. Yes, that you have already studied. Clear? Is a metaphysical imperfection that we think. Well, the created thing is that it cannot. So, physical evil in suffering, yes, we suffer, and then moral evil in sin. A dog cannot fly is a metaphysical evil. Evil is the privation and not a positive entity. So that is one point you need to remember always. Evil is a privation and not a positive entity. God does not will moral evil, He only permits it. That's His position. God does not will evil, but only permits it. Physical evil too, He does not will absolutely. What is metaphysical evil? Imperfection. What is physical evil? Suffering. What is the third one? Moral evil. Yes, that is, metaphysical evil is the root cause of all evil. Yes, a dog cannot fly. A man cannot. Yes, you think in terms of extreme possibilities, and I cannot do that. I cannot fly. What then? Man is able to fly, as he found out aeroplane and all that is. Therefore, imperfect from this metaphysical evil, or in other words, why did He create? Existence is better than non-existence. God in His goodness has given existence to creatures. But the imperfection of creatures depends not on the divine choice, but on the essence of creatures. Okay, that is the best possible world and the problem of evil. So, thereby, then the principle of morality, that is the last point. Principle of morality, there are certain moral principles innate in us. He is also part of the rationalist philosopher. Therefore, man is endowed with innate ideas. Therefore, there are also moral truths, principles of pleasure and justice present even in a barbaric man. Therefore, there are innate moral principles, live accordingly. So that is what is all about, yes, Leibniz. Dear friends, thereby we conclude the rationalist philosophers. The last one is Leibniz. And with this we wind up rationalism and we enter into empiricism. Rationalism stood for innate ideas. Man is endowed with reason, clarity, distinctness, and all that comes. Subject-centered thinking and all is reflected. Well, Leibniz is the last specimen model. Remember always, for the body-mind solution, the proposals by three of them. Descartes, interactionism, and Spinoza, psychophysical parallelism, and Leibniz, pre-established harmony. And in Leibniz, what is important is his metaphysical framework, namely the philosophy of the world, doctrine of force, doctrine of monads, the principle of continuity, pre-established harmony, clear. And then the problem of evil and all, that is about God. God's proofs for God's existence are more or less similar in all the three philosophers, particularly in Descartes and Leibniz, clear. So therefore, there is no problem regarding that. We wind up with, yes, arguments for God's existence. Well, universal principles are there. That is what he says. Okay. Argument from eternal truth. Yes, principle of sufficient reason. We wind up. Thank you.